I'm David Fischer, CEO and founder of HIGHSNOBIETY. I started HIGHSNOBIETY in 2005 as a digital magazine focused on lifestyle, fashion and culture. Today HIGHSNOBIETY is known as still the publication that it's been for almost 20 years, but we also operate as a creative agency, as a retailer and also as a brand in the marketplace. And we're pretty much obsessed with the same things we were obsessed about in 2005, which is what's next in culture and what's driving it. I mean, when I think about Massimo Osti, there are a few things that just very clearly come to mind. You know, it's on one hand this idea of tradition and innovation. This idea of what made some traditional military garments, outerwear, so good. How can you take the research that went into these garments already and really bring them into the future? The reality is, of course, that the things that Massimo Osti was doing in the 80s and 90s, you know, are still today considered new. You know, there are other brands that come to market with something that he did 20, 30 years ago, and they're like, look at our great new innovation, you know, and suddenly you realize, hey, there was this one guy that was doing all these things already way back when. And I think it was also a time where this idea of urban life changed very much. You know, it was a time where, you know, it was about biking in the city, jumping in the subway. You kind of needing garments that would kind of reflect this newfound lifestyle that people had. The product that fascinated me from a design functionality perspective was this ICD Plus collection, you know, that he did with Philips and Levi's at the time, which essentially incorporated an MP3 player, headphones, and a phone in the jacket with hard wiring running through the jacket, and you had a remote control. I was always fascinated by manga, by also science fiction, and so that just really spoke to me. You know, really tried to bring clothing to the future in many ways, and just really, you know, breaking boundaries, you know, between technology and fashion. I mean, when I think about what Massimo Osti would be doing today, that's not an easy question. To be honest with you, I'm not sure he would still be designing clothing. He innovated and brought to market so many things first, right? So there's so many rules that he broke, and I'm just not sure that fashion still allows for that in the same way as it did back then. And I don't want to sound like the old guy, but the beauty of clothing pre-internet was that you also, of course, still had these beautiful regional differences, right? You went to Tokyo and saw something that just existed in Tokyo, and then you went to Bologna and you saw something that was just there. And that you, of course, have a lot less of now as well. And that is great in many ways because so many people have access and it gives a big platform. But it, of course, also takes away a little bit from the discovery. You actually only get that discovery today in food. Because if you want to experience special food, there's no way other than going to that restaurant. You know, like you have to go to Tokyo, you have to go to New York to eat that special burger, you have to go to Seoul to eat that special barbecue, and so I don't know. Maybe he would be a cook today. I could see that fit his lifestyle and his philosophy in life. But my gut feeling is he probably would not be designing fashion anymore.